I'm Lupe, a mom raising two kids outside Los Angeles. One day, I got the message no parent wants. Immigration raids in our neighborhood. Schools on lockdown. Families terrified. Raids don't keep us safe. They're meant to break us apart. While the government cuts funding for our schools and hospitals, they spend more to disappear our neighbors. But we're parents. We're moms. We protect each other because we know every family deserves to feel safe.
Text BUILD to 78757. This ad was paid for by United We Dream.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's 1 o'clock Saturday afternoon. You know what that means? It means Inside Georgia Real Estate with Deborah Morton, who's the founder of Clareo Real Estate. My sister, how are you?
How you doing, Shelley? It's
I missed
great
you.
to be here. I missed you the last couple of weeks.
I missed you. We're back. So let's get right to it. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, this show is for you. You call in, you ask all your real estate questions. The number to call is 404-872-0750 or 1-800-WSB-TALK. That's 1-800-WSB-TALK, 404-872-0750. Give us a call with all your real estate questions. The Fed is supposed to meet this week.
Yes, we're excited.
And I heard you say, before we came on, you said the house is not the problem. It's financing. So
for most people.
For most
yes,
people, right.
Yes.
So talk to us about what the Fed is meeting about and what ramifications that can have for home buyers.
Okay, so I am no economics professor, but what I understand that for most people, financing their home is the hardest part about finding and securing a home when they're purchasing. So interest rates for the last year have been higher than we've seen in the last 4 to 5 years. We've had historically low interest rates. And what that does is create more purchasing power for a buyer. You can afford more because money costs less to borrow. In the last 12 months, rates have been higher. Inflation's up. Rates went up. This is where your study on what the Fed does will come into play. Mortgage rates are impacted by what the Fed does. So when the Fed meets this week, if they determine, which many people expect, they are going to lower rates by 1/4 to 1/2 point, we are going to see an immediate drop in mortgage rates. And what that does is allow a lot of people to get back into the game of looking to buy a house. We have seen rates drop the last several weeks. It's nice. We're down in the low 6s now for most people. And for me, in my opinion, when rates get right at that below 6%, it's game on for buyers again.
So, but why? Because it was down at 2-3%, right?
Yeah, that was pandemic financing.
Right. So will it ever get there again, do you think?
I think it would be crazy to expect that. I
Gotcha.
mean, I don't have a crystal ball, but that is basically cheapest money anybody could ever expect. And over like a 40-year average, that was aberrant. Normal is 6%.
Gotcha.
If we look back over the last 40 years, a 6% mortgage rate is reasonable. But we also have the fact that housing prices have increased so rapidly over the last several years. The higher cost of the house plus the higher interest rates have really impacted most buyers' ability to purchase what they want to purchase.
So the Fed meets, they drop it 1/4 to 1/2%, right? Next possibly. What does that look like for the market? Meaning, like, if I'm sitting back saying, I don't want to pay 7% mortgage, I've got my down payment, I'm ready to purchase, I've got a couple ideas of what I'm going to do. Do they run out?
Yeah, no, it's the monthly payment that really impacts a lot of people. Bread, milk, food, everything costs more right now. So what you can afford on a monthly basis, if money costs less because interest costs less, then they can afford more. So if you're buying, let's say, a $450,000 house at a higher interest rate, your payment is going to be uncomfortable based on what your monthly budget is. And that's what my job as your real estate professional, along with your mortgage professional, is supposed to do. We are supposed to help break down for you and find the best house that you can afford comfortably where you're not feeling house poor at the end of the month.
And explain what house poor means, because I've heard that term. I'm not sure. You know what I mean? What does that mean?
No,
that means
people
does that mean I have a huge house, but I'm broke because I'm paying for this huge house?
It could. I mean, Shelley, you want to be able to live a comfortable life, go out to eat with your friends, whatever you do in your leisure time, take a vacation, own a car. There are things that you need money for that is not all of your mortgage. Now, your mortgage lender is going to look at the total costs of your life, and they have numbers and percentages that they're going to use with your income, your debt to income ratio, your income. All of these things come into play, and it's a nuanced and detailed deep dive that the lender has to do with you before you decide to purchase. On my part, on the real estate end of it, we're going to work together to figure out what you're comfortable with and then go find the house.
Meaning with a monthly payment.
With your monthly payment, your down payment, and what your expectations are for your, yes.
I know there are a lot of first-time home buyer programs out there, right? Mm-hmm. Do you see an increase in those in your business versus people selling and downsizing, you know?
It's life. Real estate mirrors life.
Gotcha.
At different parts of life, people need to downsize because they're getting older and their life circumstances have changed. Young people, at some point, everybody should be a first-time buyer. They're going to buy their first home, and you need different skill set at each different phase of life. If you own a home and you want to change homes, selling and buying simultaneously, that's another skill set because of all the moving parts. So that's why a personalized consultation is so important when you're working with a local expert, to make sure that your agent understands exactly what you need, because your needs are different than someone else's needs. Yeah.
404-872-0750, 1-800-WSB-TALK. I want to ask, I've been wanting to ask this question since we started this show. Okay. So I'm very much in love with AMAC, the lawyer, like just head over heels, right? She wants the dream home. And the question I have is it easier or better because where I live in Mableton, there's a lot of land for sale. You see a lot of signs, land for sale. And in places where maybe a year ago I saw a sign, land for sale, I now see a home being built, right? So I'm thinking, okay, this is what we can do. We can have our own home, everything in it, what we want, the way we want it. Is it easier to buy the land, right? Meaning get the financing for the land and then have a home built, or is it easier to buy a house that's on land already and then just take down the house you bought and build a new one? What's easier and what's the better financial option?
Whoa, gosh. So that is a highly detailed and specific question, and everybody's circumstances are different. When you say easier, what exactly does that mean?
What is when I say easier, I mean financing, the cost, like is it a double cost once you buy the land and you're putting a mortgage for a builder? Like what,
yeah,
you know what I mean? That's what I mean by easier.
The most complex part of the transaction is usually the financing. And when you're buying raw land that's unimproved, you're not going to use a regular or what we would call a traditional residential mortgage.
Okay.
When you're buying a home that's a resale or a new construction home, the bank that lends you money is using the house and the property as security for the money they're lending. If you fail to make your payments, they take the house and resell it, and their risk is covered. With raw land, it's different. So the financing is a little bit more complicated. You're going to have to put more cash down to secure it. And there's plenty of banks who do it, but it won't be the same traditional residential mortgage process for land. Then you also have to work out your construction loan,
right.
Your construction
so
to permanent
that's what I'm saying.
loan.
That would be a separate loan.
It is a more complex process.
Gotcha.
So when you say easier, you end up with your dream home, which is great, but you can also work with a home builder to build your dream home in certain areas too. Maybe you don't want to be in a subdivision, but there are builders out there who own lots that will build or a custom or semi-custom home as well. So you have lots of options.
Would you, in that situation, be going through a traditional mortgage loan in that case, or would you be going through a construction new construction build loan?
It really would depend on the circumstances, again,
Okay.
the lot. And then you asked specifically about, is it a smart financial decision? That depends completely on the location and what you choose to build, because your taste might not be everybody else's taste. So what you build, long term,
Gotcha.
your taste might be out there, Shelley.
Right,
like,
right,
what if
right.
you're
They
what
are,
if you're a freak?
They are. So that begs a real important question. When you're buying a home, should you be buying it with the intention of one day reselling, or should you be buying with the intention of, I'm going to be happy here if I have to stay here my whole life?
So the forever home is, a lot of people say this is going to be my forever home.
Right.
No one can predict what the rest of your life will look like. My job as your real estate professional and consultant is to always look at what the resale value will be in the future on your behalf. Even if you choose to stay there, your family, your heirs in the future, it might be 40 years from now,
Right.
but it's still my job to factor that into the equation when we're pricing your home.
404-872-0750, 1-800-WSB Talk. The name of the show is Inside Georgia Real Estate with Deborah Morton. She is the founder of Clareo Real Estate. Give us a call, 404-872-0750, 1-800-WSB Talk. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The name of the show is Inside Georgia Real Estate with Deborah Morton. She is the founder of Clareo Real Estate, and she is very good. She's an expert on all things real estate. 404-872-0750, 1-800-WSB Talk. Let's go to Ernie. Ernie and Cumming. Hey, Ernie, thanks for listening, and thanks for your question. What is your question?
Absolutely. Shelley, love all your different shows and appreciate you guys answering my question, taking my call. So it's really a two-parter, Deborah. So how do you see the next 12 to 18 months going in the real estate market? And then number two is, we're in a great position. We're in the Cumming area in North Forsyth specifically. We bought a short sale about 10 years ago.
Good for
and
you.
Our youngest daughter is getting ready to graduate in 2 years.
Hold on,
selling.
Ernie. One question for you, Deborah. What is a short sale for those that are listening that don't know?
Oh, so we haven't seen a lot of them in the last couple of years because it's easy to sell a house with low inventory. But back, say, 2008, 2009, when people weren't making their payments because of lots of reasons. We'll save that for another conversation. When somebody doesn't make their house payment, the mortgage company takes it back. A short sale would be that homeowner sells the home at a reduced price. So Ernie got a really good deal on a property by buying it straight, and it approved by the mortgage company to basically get somebody out.
Gotcha.
Right. So Ernie got a great deal, which means today, fast forward to today, he's got a lot of equity. I don't know. I mean, Cumming's a great area, but...
Go ahead, Ernie. Sorry, I just wanted to get that out for the listeners.
No worries. So, the first one, like I said, is how do you see the market going over the next 12, 18, 24 months? And then secondly, we're looking for some land. We have a couple of horses, and we want not a working farm, but we want,
like
some acreage.
Yeah.
Yes,
hobby
absolutely.
farms are
so
super
what's
popular.
the best resource?
So the next 12 to 18 months, I wish I had a crystal ball. I would be a lot richer and not sitting here with Shelley on a Saturday. But so the thing is, in an election year, everybody is kind of nervous. So what I'm seeing today is people are waiting to see what happens with the election. They're waiting on interest rates to change. They're waiting. Just when people are fearful, they tend to not do anything. So it's just slower now than it was 12 months ago. Come springtime, the election will be passed. The economy will be moving along as it always does. People always need to buy and sell houses. Your daughter has grown. You're ready to move. If it's time for you to make a move, it's time for you to make a move. You can't. Right. It's like investing in the stock market. Do you time the market, or do you just make your monthly contributions knowing that over the long haul you get what you want?
Okay, great. Well, thank you for the insight. Shelley, I love you.
Thank
Man,
you.
I love the different shows and a big fan. So thank you guys for taking my call.
You're
Thank
welcome,
you, Ernie, very
and
much.
anybody who's looking for land, it's a good thing. What you need to do, though, is make sure that you know how you're going to pay for it. Do you sell your current home to take the equity from that to buy your land, and then where do you live during that process? Or do you have the cash reserves to buy the land while you still live in your house? It's a multi-step process, preparing your current home for sale, purchasing your land, and then having your plan for building as well.
Great call, Ernie.
Crystal.
404-872-0750, 1-800-WSB-TALK. That's our phone number. Give us a call if you have any real estate questions. Inside Georgia Real Estate with Deborah Morton. She's the founder of Clareo Real Estate. He used the term, and you knew exactly what it was, a hobby farm.
Yes.
What is that?
So-
I've never heard that term before in my life.
Super fun. All over Metro Atlanta, and I know our listeners are all over. It's a big listening area. Hobby farms have become just really popular with people wanting to get back to nature. They want their space to garden, have their own chickens, their own eggs, a couple goats. Hobby farms give people the opportunity to homestead on a smaller scale. You're
Gotcha.
not necessarily a commercial farmer, but you're going to grow enough food for you and your family, and maybe sell at the farmer's market kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So your farming is a hobby. We call them hobby farms.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And so you're feeding yourself, you're feeding your family, and then
to a point.
the
I mean,
extra-
it's not
right.
like we don't all love Publix or Kroger,
Right,
too.
right, right.
But if you have your own eggs and your own vegetables and
how large would an average hobby farm be?
Oh, you could do it on a half an acre.
Really?
On a small scale.
Right.
But, I mean, I think most of the people who are calling in, to me on a routine basis, they're looking for 3 to 5 acres where it's not so much land that it's tough to care for or maintain. What you have to be careful about is zoning restrictions. Like, different parts of Georgia have different zoning requirements. Further out you are in the country, it tends to be a little bit more lax. If you're, in town, not only is the land more expensive, but there is apt to be more zoning restrictions in place on the land
Understood.
use. Yeah.
404-872-0750, 1-800-WSB-TALK. The show is called Inside Georgia Real Estate with Deborah Morton. She's the founder of Clareo Real Estate. Give us a call. Ladies and gentlemen, 1:35. That means we're in the middle of one of the best shows on 95.5 WSB. There's Car Guys. There's Inside Georgia Real Estate with Deborah Morton, founder of Clareo Real Estate. And then there's the Shelley Winter Show. I can't name it 3 better shows than that.
Shelley, you're awesome.
Inside Georgia Real Estate with Deborah Morton, founder of Clareo Real Estate. Let's go to Edward. He's got a great question. Hey, Edward, what's your question?
Yeah, I was just trying to do mortgages, and instead of using the conventional 20% down, using more of your money to buy the rate down.
It's a
at
great
today's
idea.
interest rate,
Yeah.
and just-
Can you do that?
And then you're
Hold on,
Yeah,
Edward.
and you-
Edward, hold on. Can you do that?
You can.
Hold on, Edward, for your second question.
Yeah. So in the past, traditionally, your parents probably told you save up 20% to put down on your house. It is very, very common for people to put down less than 20%. And I'm talking 3%, 3.5%, 5%. There is no hard and fast rules about how much to put down. There are some benefits to putting 20% or more down when you're buying a house, but it's not a standard requirement. Edward, what's
but how
the
do
next
how do you buy down the real estate? I mean the mortgage rate.
Yes, we call it. So, Edward, are you in the process of buying right now?
I did. I've already bought, and what I did was instead of putting the 20%, I did as you said. I put less money down and bought the rate down. And after I bought the rate down, you wait 12 months, and I was able to refinance.
Yes.
And use the balance of that 20% after the refinance, take my PMI off of the loan, and
Great.
then put the rest of the money back down on the mortgage.
So Shelley's looking at me like,
I'm trying
break
to figure
that
out.
down
You
in
guys
English.
are talking to each other, right? Exactly. Go ahead.
So thank you for calling in.
Thank you, Edward.
Because you did a very smart thing. So in some cases, so rates have been high. Let's say rates when he purchased were closer to 7%. That is a painful amount. So if he had the cash saved for 20% down, let's say maybe he chose to put 5% down and then took some of his cash to, we call it buying down the rate. The buyer can do it. The seller can do it. It can be a negotiated part of the transaction. And we can do a permanent rate buy down. You take a chunk of cash and you take your rate from 7% to 6.5 or whatever you can afford.
Who are you giving that chunk of cash to?
To the mortgage company.
Gotcha.
It's calculated as part of the initial purchase. We also have seen a lot when rates went up a year ago. What we started seeing was where we could negotiate on a buyer's behalf. Part of the contract would be to get the seller to contribute to a 2-1 or a 3-2-1 buy down. And what that means is the seller would be contributing some cash to the mortgage buy down. And that mortgage buy down would only be for a 12-month or a 24-month period.
Now, what's the benefit for why a seller would contribute anything to the buyer's mortgage?
Incentives to get the home sold.
Gotcha.
Right. And again, all of this is negotiable and every circumstance is not the same. But your agent, your professional realtor should have the experience and the skills and the expertise to step you through. Now, does a seller want to do that? Maybe not. But maybe there's some circumstances when they're selling their house that offering that incentive makes it's a smart decision to get a home sold. On a buyer side, your agent, by negotiating that piece, somebody who maybe has like I'm buying my first house or just money's tight. I only have so much cash to go around. I want to make a purchase now because think about people who are sitting on the fence waiting for a purchase, waiting on rates to come down. By the time rates come down, housing prices are still going up. So if you have waited for 2 years to buy a home because I don't think I can afford the monthly payment, a good agent should be able to negotiate in a rate buy down. So maybe that $400,000 house, 2 years later, it could be a lot higher than $400,000. So
Right.
if we can put terms together that work for you, and like the caller said, he refinance later on when rates come down, it's a very smart way to manage your money and still get the home you want.
And so essentially what I'm hearing is a lot of the things we think we know as buyers and sellers, that everything is kind of negotiable. Like there is no set, because everyone thinks about the 20%. Everyone says the same thing. Oh, I got to put down 20%. I need to save my money to get to the 20%.
My daughter's, I'm a professional real estate agent, and my daughter had that impression, a couple years ago. Like it seems to be, I don't want to call it an urban myth, but it is something that's been handed down for years and years. Is it smart to have that much money? Yes, but housing affordability is a big issue. So if you don't have 20% saved, but you do have some money saved, it might be worth having that conversation about, can I buy?
Now, you said earlier, because it seems to me buying down the rate is a lot more important than putting down 20%. But you said it might be favorable to put down a 20%. One of those circumstances.
So when you have more than 20% down on your purchase, you will, if it's a conventional mortgage, you will not have to pay your mortgage premium insurance. We call that PMI. So if you're putting 5% down, the lender is going to require some mortgage insurance. If you were to default on the loan, that insurance would kick in. The risk is lessened for the lender. That's a big deal because PMI could be, hundreds of dollars a month in addition on your payment. So again, you're balancing your monthly payments versus your cash outlay to get into the house. All of these things. And this is why next week we're going to bring members from Alcova Mortgage will be here, because with the Fed meeting next week and expectations for rates changing again, I think it's super important that our listeners understand and have the opportunity to ask these finance questions. I am good at my job. Part of my job is to help step people through this process. But I'm not a licensed loan officer.
Right.
I am a licensed real estate professional. My job is to help connect my buyers and sellers with get the information they need to make the best decisions. And I do that in partnership with great people like lenders and home inspectors and appraisers and
Gotcha.
such. It's one part of the whole shebang.
So next week, ladies and gentlemen, you want to tune in because the Fed is meeting this week to talk about mortgage rates, talk about interest rates, excuse me, which affects mortgage rates. And if they drop in, that's going to impact the real estate market. So next week, in with Deborah Morton, founder of Clareo Real Estate, will be members of Alcova Mortgage. They'll be joining us next week. So you don't want to miss that show. Let's go to Tony in Cobb County. Hey, Tony.
Hey, Shelley, Deborah, great show.
Thank you. Thanks for listening. What's your question?
Hey. Well, first I want to say Shelley's doing such a good job. I guess next week they'll have him doing sports, traffic, and weather.
My man. I appreciate that, Tony.
Anyway, thank you. My question is, I bought my first home in Cobb County in 1996. I paid $135,000.
Ooh, good for you.
Worth, yeah, but I sold it. Now it's worth $450,000. I wish I would have kept it. However, I've been looking for a home since the divorce, and it's outrageous. I was paying rent. That first home I paid $900 a month for. Now, $2,000 a month rent, you get a home with a carport and wood paneling on it with no space. So what I'm considering is purchasing some land a little further out and putting maybe one of those new prefab modular homes. I'm seeing a few come up on my social media feeds. They look a lot different than they used 2 years ago.
Yes.
I want to know your thoughts on that.
It really is going to depend on how far out can you go. If you're still working, trying to commute to a job, you have to go out a little ways to get land at a price that would allow you to package your plot of land plus your home. Again, we're back to the financing conversation. It's like all conversations lead back to financing always, because how you buy land and you're going to have to run your utilities to the land to make sure you're connected to power, septic, put a septic in, connect to sewer. Those are all factors, and then actually buying the house. So in the past, most people have in mind a modular home would be like a mobile home,
right?
Single wide, double wide, like there's lots, but they have changed a lot. Tiny homes have become very popular, especially up like in the North Georgia mountains as more vacation homes. There are also new things coming that have not gone mainstream yet in our local area, but I'm keeping an eye on, which would be like 3D printed housing. The prefab is more like designed and built in a warehouse, shipped in and assembled on site.
That's when we see people in those houses on trucks driving down the highway.
Yeah, so there's a lot of different options coming. They are great options. It is not going to be right for the majority of people for a lot of reasons, and I'm going to go back to primarily for cash. Do you have the funds to make these purchases and to pull all so you need cash and you need skills because you're basically become a project manager. So
did you get that, Tony?
I get it, and I'm trying to weigh all the options. I guess on the Weather Channel next week you can tell me, Shelley.
Yes, sir. I will make sure I tell you. Thank you, Tony.
Thanks for calling. New construction is an option for people that we should be talking about as well.
Let's talk about it in the next segment.
Okay.
All right. It's the Inside Georgia Real Estate with Deborah Morton. She's the founder of Clareo Real Estate. She's an expert. If you want more information, go to InsideGeorgiaRealEstate.com. That's the website. You can get more information there. You can also get contact information. Go to InsideGeorgiaRealEstate.com. We have one more segment. When we come back, Deborah's going to talk to us a little bit about new construction homes. We'll be right back.
Welcome to
InsideGeorgiaRealEstate.com is the website, ladies and gentlemen. The name of the show is Inside Georgia Real Estate with Deborah Morton. She's the founder of Clareo Real Estate. Before we went to break, Deborah, you wanted to talk about new construction homes. What are new construction homes?
Well, so it's a really good option for people who are not finding. We are still in a low inventory situation. There's not a lot of homes to choose from. So if you want to be, say, in Marietta specifically, there's just not a lot of homes to choose from in certain price points. But having a newly built home is wonderful. So for somebody whose timeline is a little bit more flexible and they frankly want a nice new house that's never been lived in before and maybe have some customized options, new construction is it is a great option. Whether it's townhome, single-family home, condo, there are things out there where you're getting nice, fresh, built, includes a builder warranty. There's a lot of peace of mind that comes with that, and you get more options in some cases. So it's something that people need to keep in mind that might be a good option for them.
And there are options at all levels.
Absolutely.
First time, because one of the things I'm seeing with a lot of these new construction homes that I'm looking at or that I see coming up in my area, the houses are right on top of each other because the space is limited, to your point.
And
right.
Land is expensive.
Right.
So in areas where land has a higher cost, now the county, depending on which county you're in, the county is going to have a land use plan that's going to determine how big the houses can be built per acre, or is it 3 houses per acre, or is it zoned where you could put townhomes in that would be considered higher density housing. So that is determined by each county sets its own land use plan. And then the builder, when a builder or a developer buys a tract of land, let's use like Cherokee County as an example. Mm-hmm. They had a lot of building happen in the last 20 years. And Cherokee County has a great land use plan. They have decided what could be built where. And as a result, they have attracted in national home builders, regular, like local home builders, and all different types. So there's a lot of options, whether it's townhomes, different price points, bigger lots, smaller lots, all of those things. And sometimes it's really nice for a buyer to be able to choose their cabinets and their countertops
right.
and their paint colors and all of those things.
So as a realtor, right,
Mm-hmm.
that is where I'm at, meaning Shelley and AMAC, the lawyer, right?
Yes.
We have big plans in June 28th of next year. Don't want to say too much about that, but we have big, huge plans June 28th of next year. But as a realtor, would you go out based on what we're looking for and the area, or let's say the area is not that as important. We just want a good school, right? Mm-hmm. Elementary school and high school. Would you guys as a realtor look for these new construction home opportunities?
Well, in an initial consultation with you, this is a normal life stage that happens for people. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk about what you envision your life together looking like. You've got a couple kids, you got to make sure the schools are good, but then what else do you do for recreation and entertainment? Do you want to be close enough because live, work, play matters to you? I mean, you're here at the radio station, so there's a whole lot of factors. Do the kids play sports? What matters to them? And where do you see yourself in 5 or 10 years? That is a big factor in determining where does she work? Where do you work? What does your commute look like?
Right.
Who's picking up the kids? Who's dropping
But I'm
the
saying
kids
the point,
off? Right.
the point is, as an expert, you're going through that in the first initial consultation.
Yes.
But the bigger question is, once you do that, can you guys find?
Absolutely.
That's what I'm asking.
And we should be offering you all of your options. So an experienced agent is going to say, okay, guys, this is the area you're looking, and this is the price point you want to stay in. These are some options for you. And in my opinion, based on what you told me, this is what I think we should go look at first.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, her name is Deborah Morton. She's the founder of Clareo Real Estate. You can reach her at InsideGeorgiaRealEstate.com. That's the website. Or the website for Clareo?
ClareoRealEstate.com.
ClareoRealEstate.com. You can reach her at those two places, have your questions asked ask your questions, and have them answered. Final word from you to our listeners before we go.
Join us next week. We're going to be talking heavy and detailed about mortgages and financing and what the expectations are in real estate for the next 12 months. That's what people want to know about, so that's what we're going to bring.
InsideGeorgiaRealEstate.com, ClareoRealEstate.com. Ladies and gentlemen, go there now. She's an expert, and she knows what she's doing, so all your real estate questions can be answered at those two sites. My sister, I'll see you next week.
Thanks, Shelley. Looking forward to it.
God bless everyone. Thank you very much.
At the UPS Store, we have the key to unlock the world of possibilities because we'll sign for your packages and protect them from porch pirates. Most locations are independently owned. Product services, pricing, and hours of operation may vary. See Center for details. The UPS Store. Be unstoppable. Come into your local store today.